Good morning, and this is the Carolyn Williams Show, and I have a lovely, lovely guest called Sonia Lambert this morning, and she's from London, and I'm going to ask her now just to tell you who Sonia Lambert is. Sonia, good morning.
Good morning, Carolyn. Thanks for inviting me to your show. Oh, what can I say about me? I was born in East London.
Yes.
My parents came from Jamaica in the late 50s, and they settled. That's where they settled because most of their family were. And I'm one of 6 siblings. I've got a sister. She's actually born in Jamaica, and she didn't come to the UK till a lot later. But you know, it was quite difficult. It was quite difficult, challenging times. Because my family, we just moved around from place to place until we finally got settled, just a stone's throw from West Ham United football ground. So during my early days, I became a West Ham fan, and that's how I got into football. So that's my beginning. I became a single parent at the age of 19, much to the disgust of my mother. But that's how life goes sometimes. But even though I became a single parent, I still didn't want it to define who I was. And I was really quite ambitious. And even though I had a small child, I juggled childcare, a full-time job, and I actually got myself a postgraduate diploma in business. So I was really quite proud of that, because I think I'm the only one in my family. Yeah, I think I was the only one of my siblings that actually, you know, did anything education-wise. So I was really proud of that, even though I had the handicap of being a single parent. So from then on, you know, my ambition was to become a homeowner. I've always wanted to have the dream home, the dream husband, the dream life. So that's what I did. I just went, not so much the dream husband, but at the beginning, but I actually went on and bought myself my very own property. And again, that was in East London. The weird thing about the house, when I went to see it, had a gas fire, but when I moved in, it had a big hole in the wall. Oh. So I moved into this house in the middle of November with a big hole in the wall and no heating and an outside toilet. But I was really, really fortunate. I had a really, really good friend, and he actually paid for my central heating to be installed. So I got some, you know, despite all my beginnings, I've got some really, really good friends that, you know, I hold dear, that have actually helped me throughout my journey. And what happened next? My childhood sweetheart. I met I've been married 3 times, so my family called me Joan Collins for short. I'm not quite sure why, because I'm sure she's had more husbands than 3. But I met my childhood sweetheart, Gil, at school when we were about 13. And he's always been my schoolboy crush. You know, when I saw him, he had this amazing afro, the trendy flares. And, you know, I didn't realise that he was going to become the love of my life. And we kind of skirted around each other for over, I don't know how many. We actually met at 13 and we actually got married only 5 years ago. Wow. So we've been running. Yeah. So we've been circling each other for more years than I can remember. So, you know, we've got a blended family, because he's got 3 children. I've got my 2 boys, but you know, he's just been an amazing part of my life. And you know, the good thing is that we both want the same things. We're both ambitious, and we both got the same dreams. So, you know, it's turned out to be, you know, the perfect partner for me.
That sounds lovely. And what you constantly infer there is the home is really the sanctuary. So is that your driving force, the fact that you've got this home and now you've got this small portfolio of properties?
Yeah. With me and my husband Gil, it's funny how we got involved in property, because we were on a day out, and we were actually on the Orient Express. I've always wanted to do the Orient Express, so we did that to I think it was to Balmoral or something like that. But it was an amazing day, and we just got on the train, and we saw this ad for property investing training, and it's something that we've always wanted to do, but weren't quite sure how to get into it. So as soon as we saw it, we kind of looked at each other and thought, yeah, this is, you know, just things just happen at the right time. And we just clicked and we said, yeah, this is what we're going to do. So we did that. And that was about 5 years ago. And we actually started, you know, I think in order to get involved in property, you need to learn the ropes.
Yes.
Because I know so many people that have just gone straight in, and it's, you know, it's kind of destroyed their livelihood. So, and I think with when it comes to, especially the amount of investment that you need so much knowledge to get involved in property investing. So that's what we did. We went away, we got the knowledge, and we actually started investing in property. So we've now got a small portfolio that, you know, is manageable. And what tends to happen, Gil looks after the property and I go to work. So, and the thing is, the properties are in Ipswich and Middlesbrough. So I'd rather he gets on the road and he deals with that. So I don't have to drive, because Middlesbrough is such a long way.
Yes.
It's like a 4-hour drive, and it's not, it's a long day out.
That's a good arrangement. And the reason I met you and the timing of it was on Lucky Singh's Alternative Property and Business Solutions community. And you appeared to me as a very strong lady, very resilient. And I didn't realize that you actually worked for the National Health Service as a manager. So tell us a little bit about that.
Oh gosh, I've been working for the NHS for about 16 years, and the thing is, when I go back to my school days, when I saw the careers officer, which I used to have in school, I'm not sure about now, I always wanted to be an air hostess. But when I saw the careers officer, he goes, "Oh no, you should be a nurse," and I felt quite offended by that. I thought, no, I don't want to be a nurse because I hate the sight of blood. But fast forward a few years and I'm working in the NHS, but it's purely by chance, because I used to work up in London. I used to work for all for the banks and public relations, blue chip companies. And it's only when my son was little, it was, and he was at nursery locally, and there was so much pressure to get to the nursery on time. And when you're working up in the city, if you don't leave work on time, you don't get the right train home. So I was always the last one, and he was always the last child in the nursery because I was always late. I thought, got to stop. So I actually got a local job working for the NHS. And I've been working for them, as I said, for about 16 years. And I was really lucky that I had a really supportive line manager. And I suppose he could see that I could do more than what I was doing, because I actually started off as an administrator, like business manager. And there was a gap for a contracts manager. And he all said to me, the only way you're going to succeed in the NHS is if you've got a degree of some sort. So he supported me, and I got my postgraduate diploma in business. So that enabled me to apply for higher level roles. Yeah. And then after, I think I was actually permanently employed with them for probably about 4 or 5 years. And then I decided to go freelance. So I've worked all over the country following the contracts. So it's, I think that way is a really good way to get experience and get to learn. And I've got experience and skills within the NHS that transferable, whether it's working for the commissioners that actually provide the budgets for the hospitals, or working in the hospitals. So it's been a really good career. I've met loads of interesting people, and as I said, I've been I worked in the Midlands, I've worked in Ipswich, I've worked in Bedford, so I worked all over the place, and London finally. But yes, it's been a good experience.
And what's happened with regards to COVID? How has that affected you?
Well, I was on after working in Norwich for a year, I finally got a contract that was closer to home. Yes. Which was literally 25 minutes drive from home. But then I started that in February, but then my contract was ended in end of June, July, due to COVID. So I've been forced into early retirement and become a lady of leisure for the past 6 months. But to be honest, I think lockdown has been, even though it has been very challenging for some people, yes, for me, I think it's given me time to actually sit down, reflect, reassess my life and my relationship as well, because I was just never at home. And, my poor son, I've got a son at university, and he's been at home the last year, and I've hardly seen him. So it's been really good to spend that time at home and getting to know my family again.
That's the reset and reinvent, and gives you a time to look at what you really want for your future. So what's your why, Sonia?
My why? I like being at home. Yeah. I like being at home. I like spending time with my son, and I love traveling. Absolutely love traveling. So, and my son's also discovered the same desire. He loves traveling as well. And I think it'd be really good if we can, you know, if we can spend at least 6 to 8 months just traveling together. And, you know, I want to leave a legacy for my future grandchildren, because I don't want them to have the struggles that I had to face. And I think, you know, in the future, home ownership is going to be really rare. And I want to be able to leave something, not just for my son, but for a generation after them, you know, so they can look up and say, yeah, grandma or great grandma Sonia did all this for us so that we can have a better life. Because I think life can be hard. And I think from a charitable point of view, I think financial education is so important.
Very.
And if there's something I can do to actually, you know, make sure that children are aware and they've got the knowledge of how to manage finances. You know, if it's setting up a fund, setting up, I don't know, some kind of bursary for children to learn from an early age the importance of finances and financial management, because I didn't have that. And I really feel that there's things that I could have done differently if I had that level of education. So that's my main whys.
I would agree with you there. And that's the same with the Welsh education, you know, finances weren't important in junior school. And it wasn't unless you chose it for your secondary level that you follow that pathway. But it's crucial, and it'll become more crucial. And so the curriculum has got to really change in terms of the marketplace. I'm into sport and have been for years. That's been my profession. And I travelled to London not long after the Olympics had been hosted in London. And Usain Bolt was the star of that particular event, and obviously Mo Farah. So is that something, is sport important to you as a family?
Yeah, oh, well, when I was at school, I've actually got a gold medal for high jump.
I thought that's why I mentioned it. I had a feeling that would come up.
Oh yes, I used to love sport at school. I was in the netball team. I used to do athletics, and funny enough, the Olympics, we actually went to see some of the events at the Olympics, which were absolutely amazing. And we actually, because we enjoyed it so much, we actually went to Glasgow. I think it was a couple of years after, to see the Commonwealth Games. So, and you know, everyone in the house is football mad. So I've got my son. And I've actually got my nephew living with us at the moment as well. And it's just all about the football. So as soon as the football game's on, I just leave the room and watch it somewhere else in peace, because it's just mad crazy.
I felt the energy in London at that point during the Olympic Games was enormous. It was like, you had to be there to experience it. I think. Oh yeah, definitely. It was amazing. And they did such a good job of that. So moving on to you, who would you say are your audience? You know, who would you like to attract in terms of your business? And talk me through the business.
In terms of my business, I think women, because I think women can multitask better than men. And, you know, a woman can have a full-time job and still have another business on the side. And I think with the business I'm in at the moment, I'm in network marketing, and I think there are just so many opportunities for women. And you know, the stats say that 82% of women earn over $100,000 a year just through network marketing. And I really think there's a big market. You know, in the US, network marketing is, I suppose, it's just one of those things that women do. But in the UK, I think it's one of those unknowns it's going to explode in the UK, because it's an opportunity to have a home-based business. And so it allows you to be your own boss and put in the hours you want. You set your own targets, and you know, you can make it your own. So it can either be your part-time or your full-time, depending on how much time and effort you put in. So, and
who encouraged you to? Who was the person that gave you that kind of influence to start that business?
Well, it's purely by chance I got into this business, because, to be honest, I'd never known about network marketing. I was at a franchise exhibition just over a year ago, because my husband was helping out on a stand, and I just went there to say hello. And this guy just stopped me and he said, oh, would you be interested in seeing this opportunity? And because he was quite elderly, I thought, oh, I didn't want to be rude, because we was told to respect our elders. So I said, yeah, just give me. So I gave it, he goes, give me your card. And he goes, I'm going to ring you on Sunday at 4 o'clock. And I thought, oh yeah, okay then. So Sunday at 4 o'clock, the phone rang. I thought, who is this? And it was the guy that I met at the exhibition. And he said, look, he goes, I'd like to meet you just to show you this opportunity. He goes, if you don't like it, I'm not trying to sell you anything, blah, blah, blah. So we arranged to meet. And when I saw the presentation, I thought, wow, I've never knew about network marketing. I thought to myself, if only I'd known about this before, because that's how most of the millionaires earn their money. It's all, as they call it, residual income. So it's like royalty income. So that's when I got into it, and the education and support is just next to none, because since I've discovered that industry, I've learned so much. And it's not just about earning the money, it's also the self-development as well. Because if you'd asked me to do this 6 months ago, I would have said no way. But through the business, because obviously since lockdown, everything's done on Zoom. And I've actually keyed this line: the more you Zoom, the more you bloom.
Lovely. I like it.
And I really do believe it.
Yes. I
really do believe it. So, I just love it. Because I've met so many people, and it's not just in London, people all over the UK, people in America, people in Germany, because, as long as you've got a laptop or a phone and you've got a good connection, you can talk to anybody. You can promote your business, promote your services anywhere around the world. So that's what I love about that business.
You sound very industrious and a busy lady, and you're driven. We call it driven. We have IMA, which is an intelligence psychological profile of business people, and I identify you, like me, as a red because you go on colours, but you're also a yellow because obviously you're a people's person working for the National Health. So there's a blend there. Where would Sonia really chillax and just enjoy time?
Where would I go?
What would you do?
What would I do? I went on holiday a few years ago to a place called Ischia, which is near in Italy, near Naples.
Yes.
And it's probably one of the most nicest places I've ever been. So I'd love to just go there and just eat seafood all day long. Yes. And another place I would like to go, in 1993, I had a bit of a midlife crisis, and I went off to the Caribbean and sailed around the islands for nearly 9 months.
Excellent.
And I would just love to recreate that adventure and just become a yachtie and sail around the Caribbean islands and just, sit in the cockpit with gin and tonic and watch the sun go down. That's what you call a life. And that's one of the times I felt so chilled, because you're surrounded by, you've got the blue sky, you've got the sea, you've got the heat. Oh, it's just absolutely fantastic. One of the best experiences of my life, sailing around the Caribbean islands. So
that reminds me of an invite I was given, and I took it up to sail around Turkey, Turkish coast. Yeah. And that was networking. And that was from Cornelis de Meer, who knew the Dutch owner of these gullets. And secondly, you networked yesterday and mentioned Nicole Bremner. And she had a lovely video shot on board a sailing ship. And I thought, yes, that is something that takes you completely out of your comfort zone, but into something completely bigger. The horizon is so wide.
Yeah.
So where would you say your happy place is?
Well, one of my happiest places was lying on the deck of a boat sailing around the Caribbean islands. And I'd love Gil to experience that, because he hasn't experienced that, and I know he'd love it. But then some people think, oh, I'm scared of water, can't swim. But the thing is, it's just a wonderful experience.
Well, in the experience in Turkey, I can honestly say it was so salty that you're buoyant anyway. You just And the gin and tonics, that was the most fun that we had, was seeing the tray of drinks being lowered into the sea for the guests on board that ship. And I thought, this is the way to live.
Yeah.
You're swimming around locally, and you come off a little boat, and then you get to your main sailing ship, and you've got the sailing crew lowering drinks so that you can have that. And that was an amazing party feeling that you'd never experienced unless you did that.
No, it's amazing. And the thing is, you know, I was one of the crew. So
yes, I think you would have been one of the crew, a working crew.
Yeah, it's great though, because there's because I used to work for when I spent that time in the Caribbean islands, I used to work for this company, Marine Engineers. So on a Saturday, and so all the guys that lived there, that worked in this company, they all lived on their boats in the marina.
Yes.
So we go in at 12 o'clock, we'd lock up the shop, load up their homes, their floating homes, and because they live on like equivalent of like 40-foot sailing yachts, we'd load up 2 of those with drink and food for the weekend and go off to another island and come back. Oh, it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Wonderful memories.
Yeah, great memories.
Sonia, who would you say has been the biggest influence in your life?
I suppose one of the biggest influence, because obviously growing up we didn't have a lot of black faces in the media that we can actually relate to, but I suppose during my past 20-30 years, Oprah Winfrey has been one of my role models, because she's, you know, when you read her life story where she's had a very, very challenging background, and she's like the phoenix that's risen from the ashes. Absolutely. And she's become this amazing, powerful, strong woman. And I'd like to see myself as a strong woman as well. I think we've all got that in us.
Yes, I equally admire her. And I don't know if you saw her interview with Barack Obama this weekend. From
amazing.
a point of view of interaction, you've got her sitting there quite relaxed, and even the excitement of having him sit in a different place altogether, but visually look as if they're sitting next on opposite each other. The previous president talking to her very, very openly about his journey, I thought was it is well worth listening to. So who would inspire you from that point of view? Would it be her?
Yeah, definitely. And also, funny enough, I saw this lady on Eric Worre, who's a network marketer. He had a 7-day event, and there was this lady on there called, I think it's Stormzy Wellington or Washington, and she was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, because what she was saying is that you know, when you want to promote yourself, don't hide behind anything, just be yourself. Tell your story as it is, and people will you'll attract more people that way. Because I feel that when you see some people, it's all about the big car, the big house, the gold watch, but it's nothing to do with that.
No,
it's about, you know, you as an individual, about your life, and how how your business can change your life.
Yes, so you're a role model there, Sonia. And so what message would you give to somebody, your younger self, from that point of view?
My younger self, I wish I'd known about finances when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because when I think back, because I used to move like every 2 to 3 years. You know, my friends used to write my telephone number in pencil because I was always moving. And each time I've moved, I've made, profit. But because I didn't know how to manage money, I'd have a really good time at the beginning, but then there come a point of, there'd be no money. And I really do, financial education, I just feel that's so important. And having the right network of people around you to support you. Because I think, as I say, if you're surrounded by negative people, you'll be negative. Yes. You'll just absorb their emotions and their negativity. But if you're supported by positive people, and you actually, I suppose you surround yourself with people that have actually been successful, yes, you will be successful because you can learn from them. And I think that's in my earlier years. I think that's where I missed out, because I sometimes think, oh, if I'd known some of the stuff that I know now and met some of the people that I know now, my life would be so different. But, you know, I think life's a journey.
It is.
And you learn, you know, every hurdle you go across, it's, you know, you learn from those. For every time you fall, you just pick yourself up with more knowledge, and you just move on. Absolutely. So, yeah, everything happens for a reason. So, you know, I suppose my life wouldn't be the life I've got now if I had to experience all the things I've done in the past. So it's not a case of, oh, what would I've done differently? I don't know, to be honest, whether I would have done anything differently, because I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
No, you're a shining light. And I'm so glad that Lucky Singh introduced me to you, and that it was the community for the alternative property and business community that we met. And I wish you well, Sonia, in your current business, and keep promoting that for, you know, particularly entrepreneurs of the era. And we'll get through COVID, and it already, thankfully, now with the vaccines on board, we'll see and benefit from people like yourself. So thank you very much for sitting with me and chatting with me.
That's all right. That's all right. I've enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome, and have a lovely, lovely rest of the day, Tuesday.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
And you.